Hey there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, bringing you this week's show that is formerly known as Tune In and Tune Up Thursdays. That is now on Tuesday, and we need a new name for it. Again, I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com, and in case you thought the name of the show was a little long, you're absolutely right. And we're working towards remedying that. So if you hop over to my Facebook page, which is Heavenly Messenger, you'll see where we have a contest going on this evening. I believe you know what? I didn't post it in the comments. Hold on just a half a second. Let me just grab the link for where we've got the contest going on. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Basically, we're doing a contest this evening to actually it's going until the beginning of January. But tonight is the first night that I'm doing a giveaway for a video reading. So let me just, we're calling it Name That Show. And of course, here we go. And well, geez. It looks like it's not as easy as I thought it would be to share this darn link with you guys. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Oh, no. All right. So if you head over to my Facebook page, Heavenly Messenger, and you scroll part way down, you'll see a big sign and it says Name That Show. That is the comment that you're looking for to include your ideas for what we can call our show on Tuesday nights. So when I started this show back in 2016 or 2017, early 2017, I started doing it on Thursday nights. And so we called it Tune In and Tune Up Thursday. Now we've moved to Tuesday nights and we're basically doing very similar things, maybe adding a couple of new things, who knows, and we need a new name. So as I said, this evening, we are going to be drawing for 3 video readings. So the video readings are a pre-recorded reading that I send to you. So what you do is you send me your question, any additional information that you would like to add to it, and it's very similar to the format that we see on the show here. But the big difference, 2 big differences are, 1, it's completely private, so nobody else sees it but you. And 2, it is longer, it's more in depth. The readings tend to be 10 to 15 minutes long. And again, we include psychic messages as well as we pull a couple of cards for you too. So it's very similar. So I'm going to be drawing 3 of those at the end of the show this evening. I've got it open here on my phone, all of the comments on the post. And so this isn't to see which name it's going to be. This is just a thank you very much for helping me. And we'll pull 3 people this evening randomly. So pop over to the page while we're on the show. I'm going to be doing at the end of the show this evening, and share your thought, your idea, and your name. And I will send you, potentially, if I choose you, I'll send you a code for a free video reading with me. And 2 other really quick things that I have this evening. Gift certificates purchased in the month of December, as well as readings booked for the month of December, are currently 20% off. So if you pop over to bookingwitherin.com/gratitude, the link is in the comments, that you will find all of the 20% off on that. Again, I have that posted and saved on my Facebook page. I just shared it earlier today. So pop over there if you're looking for a reading or a gift for yourself or for a loved one. And we are coming up to the deadline for the early bird pricing for the More Than Existing Summit. I believe tomorrow or the following day, prices are going to go up to the regular price. And so if you're thinking, hey, I really want to check out all of the speakers that are going to be presenting at the More Than Existing Summit, plus all of the freebies and the gifts that they've got going on, I'll be speaking on Sunday afternoon. And my workshop is called Trust Your Intuition and the Joys of Connecting with Archangel Haniel. I'm so incredibly excited to be talking about Archangel Haniel, and plan to have more courses and classes coming up about connecting with her in the future. So this is a really great way to start and to jump in. All right. So this evening, we are going to do a little bit of a throwback. Often I will pull a couple of cards just to see what's coming up for us for the coming week. But tonight, we are going to throw back and we're going to do a choose your own adventure crystal question. So what you're going to do, take a moment right now, think about a question, any question that you may have that you're looking for some help and some guidance with, and sit with it for a moment. Ask your angels for help and support in choosing the right crystal for you. And then just ask which crystal is the one that is going to represent the answer for you this evening. So we have Amethyst, Angellite, and Rose Quartz. And I'll pull one for each of those, one of the cards. Awesome. All right. So I have really been drawn to work with the big guys, with the Archangel Oracle card deck. So if you, we're going to call that a jumper because I hadn't asked the question yet. So I'll go into that. That's going to be a message for everybody. So the question that we have this evening is what is the message that people need to know if they chose the Amethyst card? So we have for Amethyst, we have for Angellite, and we have for Rose Quartz. So the card that jumped out for us before we even asked the question was this guy over here. This is Archangel Michael, and it's all about crystal clear intentions. That's actually the name of the card. I find that super interesting given that we're choosing crystals this evening. So just so you can see the cards, I'm just going to switch back to the regular view. So yes, Archangel Michael's coming through, and for all of us, he says, crystal clear intentions. Be really clear about what it is that you're wanting, what you're wanting to manifest, what you're wanting to create, the direction that you're wanting to go. You have a lot of power over what's happening right now, and it's really important to be clear about what you're wanting, what you're focusing on. All right, if you chose the Amethyst card, which is the purple card on the left-hand side, your card for the evening is Archangel Sandolphen with gentleness. When this card comes up, it's usually because we've been pushing or forcing or trying too hard. And basically, this is asking, where can we create space? How can we create space? How can we be more gentle with ourselves and with anybody else involved in the situation too? This card, this stone is calling for compassion. It's also calling for you perhaps to slow down, to find a gentler approach, a gentler way. Archangel Sandolphen is the angel who lifts our prayers up to God, source, and universe. And so whenever he comes through, it's always a confirmation that your problems, your concerns are being heard and they're being delivered upon. If you chose the Angellite card, which was the blue card in the middle, oh, this is so funny. This is also Archangel Sandolphen's card. And the message here that we have is victory. When this card comes up, it says that what we have been working towards, what we've been creating, what we've been manifesting, everything is starting to come together. So it is not time to give up. It is definitely a time to continue to invest your energy. That said, don't overstress yourself or overwhelm yourself. This can also be a card that says, hey, you've been putting lots of energy in, everything is coming together. You don't have to stress and push so hard. So I'll leave that up to you as to whether or not it's, to continue to put energy into it, or if it's just to kind of slow down and relax a bit. But everything is happening as it needs to. Specifically, the message here on the card says, your prayers have been heard and answered. Have faith. I love that faith message. So I find it really interesting that Archangel Sandolphen has come up for us in two of the cards that we've chosen. This particular card deck has 45 cards, 3 for each of the 15 major archangels. And the fact that out of the 4 cards that we pulled, 2 of them are Archangel Sandolphen, that's really significant. That means a lot. And so what I'd say is that Archangel Sandolphen is here and helping and supporting all of us. If you chose the Rose Quartz crystal, which was the pink one at the very end on the right, the card that we have this evening is the Life Review card. This is Archangel Ariel. And when this card pops up, it's because we need to be taking a look at the things that are most important to us. It's time to prioritize and to make sure that our energy and our resources, so resources in this case would be time, money, and finances, thought, like the things that you think about, about, and any other resources that you have to invest, it's important to make sure that you are putting them into the things that are most important to you. I find it interesting too that this life review card is also coming up as we're coming into a season that tends to be very busy for a lot of people, where it can be overwhelming. So maybe this is encouragement to slow down and to make sure that your energy is going into the things that are important to you. And also, as you know, many of us will kind of look back over the last year that we've been through. We're perhaps thinking about things that we're wanting to focus on in the coming year. So that's a lot of the energy that we have coming up for the rose quartz, if that was what you were asking about. And specifically, the message on the card is take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. Awesome. All right. And so we have our card that we've chosen for everybody for the week. It just kind of chose us tonight. So if you have a question you'd like to ask this evening, please pop it into the comments. I am going to get to as many people as I possibly can. And if you want me to use a specific card deck, please mention it in the same comment. I don't see it if it's a reply to a comment. I only see the one comment that's right in front of me. So please mention it. We have the yellow deck, which is the Archangel Oracle card deck. We have the green deck, which is the messages from your angels. And we have the blue deck, which is the Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck. Awesome. So we'll just pop down and we'll say hello to everybody. The two things that I talked about at the beginning of the show this evening, the 20% off readings, as well as, yes, the More Than Existing Summit. Links to both of those are at the very top of the comments, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So we've got Tanya here. Hi, Tanya. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Stacy, Catherine, Maxine. It's wonderful to see you all. Margaret, thank you so much for popping on. Hello, Sue and Brianna, Bobby, Andy, Jen, Elizabeth, Ashley. Oops, I thought I'd come to the end, but nope, my mouse was just stuck. Bobby and Pamela, Danielle, whoops, Teresa. We have Ashley and JC, Bambi, hello. Let me see. Marilyn, Robin, hello. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. It's such a pleasure to connect with you. And I'm really grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day to be here with me. All right, let's take a look. Who has our first question? Tanya. Tanya said, I hope you received my card. Yes, thank you. I did. It was so thoughtful and considerate. Thank you very much. I've received a couple of cards from a couple of people. So big thank yous to each and every one of you. I appreciate you all so much. Let me see. All right. So first question that we have is Maxine. Hi, Maxine. Thanks for joining me. Maxine's wondering, when will I be able to, or what do I have to do to get back into the travel industry? Wondering when I will be back to exploring the world again. Okay, that's a really big question, and I know you're not alone in that. Let's take a look and see what we have coming up for you, Maxine. So basically the general question that you have is, how are you getting back into the travel industry, and also about like getting out and exploring the world again? So what I'm seeing is that this feels like it's a gradual re-entry, and it kind of reminds me of the feeling that I would get if somebody was injured and off work for a while and they're doing like a gradual return. It feels to me like that's a big part of what's going to be happening. So it doesn't feel like this is something that you're, one day you're doing what you're doing and the next day you're full into being back into travel industry. It really does feel like it's going to be a gradual process. And in terms of the timeline for this starting to open up, I am seeing February, March, April of 2022 popping in. So that is sooner rather than later in the grand scheme of things. But it also is still a while out. And it feels to me that at this point, they're in a place where they're just kind of searching and looking for people, as opposed to we're ready to be hiring or we're ready to be bringing people back. So it feels like things are still in very, very early stages at that point. but I'm seeing that there are some glimmers of hope that you're seeing. And the way that I would describe the glimmers, it kind of looks like, the fancy sweaters that people wear at this time of year when they're going out. Maybe they're considered ugly sweaters now, I don't know. But sometimes they'll have like little bits of metallic thread that goes through them. That's what this reminds me of. So where there is, maybe possibly a feeling of darkness or like lack of hope, I'm seeing that there are definitely some threads that are popping up, and it does feel like this is coming and it's moving into more and more metallic threads as we move further into the year. In terms of, being able to explore the world again, I'm seeing an opening that's coming up in September. It feels like potentially there are some openings before that, but September feels like you're coming into a point in a place where you're like, okay, well, now I can finally start making some plans. So it does feel like there is a bit more stability that's happening, and that's really exciting. Okay, so we're going to the mermaids and dolphins for you, Maxine, and I'm just going to ask, what messages does Maxine need to know about re-entering the travel industry? Oops. We had our jumper. And the card that we have here is the Have Faith card. And man, do I love this. And I think that, many of us are needing that. Your prayers are manifesting. Remain positive and follow your guidance. So I think that it's possible in this situation to go into the overly positive place. I think it's really important to recognize that the frustrations, the difficulties, everything that we've gone through over the last couple of years, to recognize the challenge that has been inherent in that. But at the same time, have faith that changes are happening, that things are coming, and to just keep breathing and just keep moving forward. One of the things that I love about the imagery of this card is we have a mermaid who is literally breaking up and out of the ocean. The ocean is looking really dark, but she's coming up into the light. Literally, there's a light cloud at her heart and in her face as well. And so she is in a place of hope and faith and positive movement forward. Maxine, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Margaret, hello. It's great to see you, and Sue as well. Oh, good. I'm so glad you received the card. Awesome. Okay, so the next question we have here is with Brianna. Hi, Brianna. Thanks for joining me. Brianna's asking, when will I go on my trip to Thailand and Bali in Indonesia? And she says, I miss you, Erin. I miss you too. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have coming up. So the message I'm getting for you, Brianna, I'm seeing wild horses, and I'm trying to rein them in. So the message that I have is to hold your horses. I am seeing your trip and travel coming up, but it feels like there's a little bit of time and there's a bit of distance. I'm kind of skimming over 2022, and I'm not sure if that's because it's something that you aren't meant to focus on right now, or that it is like we're skipping over most of 2022. I am heading more into the fall and winter of 2022 or into the beginning of 2023. So it does feel like there is an opening there, some opportunity and some potential that's happening. But the big thing is to be patient, to work on and focus on the things that are happening around you right now, because it does feel like there are, I'm seeing being kind of pulled in lots of different avenues, lots of interests that are popping up for you that are asking for your time and your energy and your attention. And that's really where I'm wanting to encourage you to focus right now. The trip will come, but it feels like it's, a little bit later. I'd say we've probably got the better part of a year, possibly a little bit longer, but it will be coming. We're going to go to the messages from your angels, and we're just going to ask, what does Brianna need to know about her trip to Bali? So we had another jumper come up for you, and Desiree is the card that came through. No, conditions aren't favorable right now. Wait or look into other options and ask the angels to help guide and comfort you. So I don't think I could have gone through the deck and chosen a better card to fit with the messages that came up for you, because basically this card is saying, the timing isn't right now. It doesn't mean that it's a no-go. It's not going to happen. It's just that the circumstances aren't what they need to be in order to be looking at this option. So focus on the other things that are presenting themselves, because they're presenting themselves for a reason, and they will also help you once you are ready for the travel and for the experience that you're looking at. And Brianna, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, let me see. Jen, happy holidays to you too. Okay. So I've got Elizabeth here. Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us. I saw that you had posted earlier that you were hopping on this evening. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you got on early too. So Elizabeth's saying that she's worried about her hubby's work situation. So what do we need to know about her husband's work situation? Okay, so when I ask, what I'm hearing is like kind of trying to balance everything. I feel like I'm walking a bit of across a bit of a tightrope, and it feels like, and possibly, walking on eggshells. Like I want to be really careful about the next step that I'm taking, because if I slip, it feels like I slip off altogether, and that feels like that's pretty overwhelming. What I'm kind of wanting to encourage him to do is to actually stop and see if there are other options to be looking at, because I feel like I'm so focused on literally the next step right in front of me that I'm not looking at the other options and the other possibilities, and everything feels like it's very stressful where I am. I would possibly use like the feeling of feeling like you're walking on eggshells, and so he feels almost like he's not comfortable stepping outside of what's immediately in front of him. But what I'm seeing is that there are a lot of options that are available to him, but he needs to take his mindset out of, well, this is the path and the direction that I'm going on, and instead take a look and say, okay, well, what other options are available to me? Because it does feel like he's in a place where he's either needing to, or he's wanting to, he's ready to make a bit of change. And it feels like I'm starting to build up the energy to do that as well. So it does, yes, it does feel like it is a stressful situation, but I am seeing that there are options and alternatives for him. There's the potential for a bit of travel that's coming up. It doesn't feel like this is always the case, but I'm seeing some form of travel that is related to work, and I'm feeling the need to really look at those options moving forward. Let's take a look. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Elizabeth's husband need to know about his work situation moving forward? I've chosen the mermaids and dolphins because they're all about things manifesting on the physical level. So what does Elizabeth's husband need to know about work situation? This is interesting. The card that we have here, I don't know if you can see it that well. It's the Healing Heart card. And the message specifically is, you're a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. So this is quite interesting because it's not what I expected in terms of work messages to come up for him. But what it is saying that it's important for him to pay attention to what's coming up on an emotional level too. I suspect that there could be a really great opportunity to be healing some things. And I'm pulled back to the imagery that was coming up at the beginning, which showed me like I felt like everything was on the straight and narrow, that there weren't really a lot of options, and that I had blinders on. Like I could only see one thing, one path. And I suspect that there is some healing that's needing to be done in order to be able to fully realize the options that are actually available to him. If it is at all possible, I'm wanting to like go through some processing and possibly actually some form of career counseling, if that is an option and available to him, because I see him again really feeling like he's kind of pigeonholed himself in terms of what he can do, what he's able to do. But I'm seeing that there are lots of opportunities that are possibly things that he hasn't thought about or hasn't considered, and I'm seeing that there are resources available to him too. So really wanting to look into the community, or into possibly some form of governmental help. I'm not exactly sure where this career counseling option is coming from, but it does feel like there is some help and support, and that there is going to be transition that's coming up for him that is overall going to be really supportive in the long run. Elizabeth, I'm so glad that you popped on this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your husband too. Ashley, Merry Christmas. And Bobby, you are welcome. I'm so glad the card arrived for you. Okay, so Pamela's wondering, will I get a phone call from my special guy at Christmas? And she's saying I can choose the deck for her. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have coming up. So when I ask, I do see that there is some sort of phone call or communication that's happening, but it doesn't feel like it's all that you're wanting. It feels like there's some aspect of it that is feeling it's a little bit stilted or tired. That could also be the other word that I would use, like a feeling of tiredness and or stressness or stressed outedness. And so it does feel like there is some form of communication and interaction that's happening, but it doesn't feel like it's quite meeting the expectations that you have. So I would encourage you to prepare for that. I know sometimes it can be really easy to become excited at the thought of something. And if it doesn't happen or it doesn't come about the way that we would want it to, then we feel really down and withdrawn, and it's really hard. So just don't have a lot of expectation around the communication that you're going to have in order to kind of delay disappointment. But I am seeing an effort being made to reach out and to connect, and that's feeling really positive. Let's see what messages are coming up for Pamela in terms of connecting with her special guy. Whoops. We've just dropped like half of the card deck, so we'll keep shuffling. That's user error. All right, what does Pamela need to know about connecting with her special guy at Christmas? The card that we have here is the chakra clearing card, and this is Archangel Metatron. So his message specifically is call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. So what I take that to mean is absolutely some form of energy clearing or energy healing or chakra clearing specifically. That feels fabulous. But also this can help to clear out anything that might be standing in the way or that might be stuck in terms of like your perception of what it is that you're wanting or the perception of what it is that you're receiving. So it feels like it could be helpful to do some clearing work to help create an openness for you and for him to invite that connection and communication in that you're wanting. And Pamela, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and support your way. Awesome. We've got Danielle. Hello. Merry Christmas. Teresa. Hello. It's wonderful to see you. Elizabeth, I see that you've chosen the Amethyst. I hope that you were able to connect with the reading that we shared earlier. All right. So we've got Ashley here. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for joining me. Ashley's asking, what do I need to know for 2022? I feel like I'm struggling and want to go into the new year with good intentions and knowing what I need and what I need to work on. Okay, awesome. So the first things that I'm seeing when I ask is I am seeing boundaries. Things are feeling like they're really clear cut. And this is interesting because it feels like you've already gone through some boundary work. And I'm wondering actually if this has to do less with creating boundaries, but possibly more with testing them. So usually when we create boundaries, it's because we are or we have been in a place of hurt. And the boundaries that we create are things that are helping to keep us safe. They're protecting us from something that's hurting us. And so either we're not doing something or we're not engaging with somebody in the same way anymore. There are lots of different things that boundaries can be. Sometimes over time, because we've healed, those boundaries are, not only no longer needed, but they can actually be harmful to us in the long run too. So part of what I'm seeing is it feels like there's a review of boundaries that's coming up. And as you kind of push and test against them, you may find that you're in a place where you're able to address things or to deal with things in a different way. So again, for example, when we have boundaries that we put up in a time of stress or challenge or like deep hurt, we are often in a place where we're not able to do a lot of healing work immediately. Like we kind of are in a triage situation. What do I have to deal with right now? I'm going to put boundaries up around everything else. And so it feels like that's possibly part of what you're looking at. So it's taking a look and what's the next thing that I'm going to focus on healing with this. I have a lot that's coming up around you as a person, as an individual. And for me, this comes up with like your own health and well-being and like mental health and well-being. But I'm also seeing things coming up around work. And I've kind of got a bit of a block coming up around relationship and romance. And it feels like that's the door that we're pushing against. So focus on the things that you're wanting to create in romance and in love life over 2022. And I'm also seeing along those same lines that there are little like challenges that you are um, giving yourself. And I don't know exactly how to describe this, but If you were a single person, then part of what I would say is that possibly this is a time when you are getting outside of your comfort zone, where you're potentially meeting somebody that you wouldn't otherwise meet, or you are connecting with somebody who maybe doesn't have a lot of the same interests as you, but you're just kind of giving it a try, something new. So it does feel like that's the area that you're looking at. And I'm seeing approaching it in a playful way. I don't want to say as a game, because that can sound kind of heartless, and that's not the way that you're approaching this at all. It feels like it's playful. It feels like there's a bit of experiment that's happening, again, in like a good non-manipulative way, and it feels like it's allowing things to open up a bit more in that area in your life. So allow yourself to come into a place of play and fun, and to balance all of the areas of your life, because I'm seeing a lot that's coming up that feels like this might be work and or career or family driven. And so it could also be creating space for these things to happen. Let's see, we're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Ashley need to focus on in 2022? Whoops. All right. So the card that we have coming up here is interesting. It's the Alchemy card. So you have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So usually this is a card that would come up around money and finances. So if we had this coming up around like work and career, or you were starting a new business or something, this would be like the card that says, yep, you're on the right track. But given the things that we were talking about, and again, I would see this as confirmation if you are looking at doing any of those things, and definitely put some energy into that. But if we go to the messages specifically that came up for you, it says that yes, the timing is right to be taking a look at this, and it feels like this could be, I'm hearing the word like, this is your year. I've been seeing memes popping up on Facebook recently that has basically said, shh, nobody say that 2022 is going to be their year, because we don't want a repeat of the last couple of years. But Ashley, I'm hearing you kind of saying this or feeling this or experiencing this in whatever it is that you do decide to tackle this year. So you're definitely on the right track, on the right path, and things are feeling really positive. Ashley, I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Hello, JC. It's always wonderful to see you. And Bambi, hi, Michelle. Okay, so we've got JC has the next question here. JC is wondering about her son and how he's doing. All right, let's take a look and see what messages we have coming up. As soon as I tap in, I have a lot of lightness that's coming up. It feels like things are lifting up off of his chest. There is a sense of healing that is happening and or that has happened. I'm seeing him being very grounded and rooted with the physical world. So potentially a little more aware on a physical level than he has been in the past. I'm also seeing that there are many people that are around him. And I would say that these would be people who are ancestors, but also it feels like he is feeling and experiencing the people who are potentially around him in a new way. Everything feels like it's kind of clearing in his body, in his mind, and he is feeling more present and more aware than I remember feeling him over the past many times that we have connected. Let me just see what else is coming up for him. He's showing me a rabbit, and it feels like there is some form of gift that is coming with this rabbit. I'm seeing that the rabbit is moving. It's moving around a lot, and I don't know. Again, I keep hearing that this is some form of gift, and I'm seeing him really connecting with the rabbit. And I wonder if this rabbit is possibly becoming some form of pet or something that is close to him that he is very keenly aware of. But it feels like it's a very supportive presence, and again, there's like some sort of gift that is coming up through this rabbit. Let's take a look. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what messages are there for Josie around her son this evening? All right. That's so interesting, because we pulled this card earlier. It's the chakra clearing card, and this is Archangel Metatron. So call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. So what I'm seeing this to be is that there is still need for clearing and cleansing, but again, it feels like there is a lot of heaviness that is lifting off of him, where he is not feeling as weighted down as perhaps he has in the past. And so I'm not exactly sure what kind of work or support that you are able to do, but I am seeing prayers and possibly some form of clearing or cleansing on his behalf, if that's something that is permissible. But it does feel like there are things that he is releasing, that he is working through, and that he is processing. And I'm seeing a lot coming up in writing as well. So possibly writing letters or notes to him, and whether they are delivered or not, it feels like the spirit and the energy of them is. JC, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love to you, your son, and family as well. Awesome. Let me see. So we've got Catherine here. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. Catherine's wondering, how close am I to meeting my love for life partner? And you've asked for Angellite, so you've already received that one. Let's take a look and see what messages are coming up for you around a love life partner. So it feels to me like there might be a partner that comes before the partner that I'm actually seeing you asking about. So it does feel like there is a significant relationship. I don't think that this relationship is currently present in your life, but I do see that there is another relationship or a relationship that is coming in. It feels to me like this is a relationship that does serve a purpose for both of you. It does feel like there is mutual benefit to it. And it feels like it's something that both of you are needing to experience. And I see that there is some healing that's happening with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still see that there are things like passion and there's love. There's support between the two of you. And it is definitely something that is a loving, committed, beautiful romantic partnership and relationship. But as far as relationships go, we have like the reason, the season, and a lifetime. This doesn't feel like this is the lifetime relationship that I sense that you are looking for and asking for, but it does feel like it is a really significant one, and it is important to explore and to experience it. When I ask about timeline, I'm hearing 6 months coming up for this particular relationship, and often I will talk to people and they'll say, well, if it's not the one, I don't want it. And the thing is, there's a lot of learning that we do when we are in partnerships and relationships. And so the one that you want, either you're not ready or your partner isn't ready or both of you aren't ready. And if you bypass the learning along the way, then you may not be in a place where you are ready for the one that you actually want. So when you are drawn to a relationship and partnership, particularly in this instance for you, Catherine, it's important to explore it. As I said, it feels to me like the time frame is about the next 6 months or so, and that it's really something for you to enjoy, to explore, to experience. And it feels like, as I said, there is some form of commitment that is coming up with it, but there's also a lot of freedom that's coming with it too. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does Catherine need to know about meeting her romantic partner, life partner? We're going to ask about life partner. So the card that we have here is the Prosperity card. This is Archangel Ariel. Your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. And though I see this as being true, certainly on like a material and a financial level, the sense that I have is that this is part of how you are approaching love and connections with people. And so seeing your needs, focusing on how your needs are already being met in a loving way, in a loving capacity. And it feels like it's not necessarily that it's taking up the place of where a partner would be, but seeing how those areas might be filled in, or where you've maybe been connecting with people in a deep way through other things that you're doing. So for example, sometimes when I read for women, typically they tend to be women who are a little bit later in life, they've had their children, they're single, very definitely by choice. They tend to be very independent, and they tend to have a really kick-ass group of female friends around them. And often they will come through as being partnered because their needs are so fulfilled and met in the other things that they're doing. There can be a little bit of balance that needs to happen in those cases, in that it's important to make room. But in this moment, I'm actually seeing you moving into that place where you're recognizing where your needs are being met from a loving place in the relationships you already have. And this is part of what helps to invite in more. Catherine, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Okay, so we've got Marilyn here. Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for joining us. Marilyn's asking, what do I need to know or do to get past chronic fatigue? Okay, let's take a look. So part of what I'm seeing is it feels like there are a lot of balances that are at work and at play. And I feel you already having come into awareness of where those balances need to be. So for example, each day feels like it's a completely new day. Some days it feels like you are like super tired and nothing's going to happen. And then other days it feels like you have more energy. And when you do more, then the next day or a couple of days after, it feels like you're kind of balancing out. And so it feels like part of what you're doing is being aware of where your energy is in the day, what you are able to do, pushing those boundaries, but just slightly, and giving yourself permission to rest and relax and to take downtime as you need. Part of what I'm seeing is it does feel like there's something that's happening on a physiological level, and I'm wanting to encourage you to connect with trusted medical healthcare professional, whether that's a family doctor in Western medicine or naturopathic doctor or traditional Chinese medicine or whatever alternative therapy that resonates for you. I want to encourage you to make sure that you are connecting with somebody, because it does feel like there is more that's going on that I'm not going to be able to pinpoint for you, that's needing to be addressed. But that said, what I'm getting is that there is a lot of balancing that you're already doing, and I'm seeing that being a big part of how you're continuing and moving forward. I'm seeing a pretty significant breakthrough that feels like it's coming up as we move into March and April. And I don't know exactly where you are in the world, but I know here, where I am on Vancouver Island, in the west coast of Canada, what we experience is often we have more spring, so more sunlight and those types of things. So it does feel like there's the potential for environmental shifts and changes that are helping to open things up for you as we're moving into that. So really pay attention to how that benefits you. And I'm also seeing you incorporating little things that you're doing throughout the course of the day as well. So it feels like you're doing things that are feeling purposeful and meaningful, that are helping to give a little bit of structure to the day as well. And it feels like these things do really make a big difference. And then if you're able to give yourself permission to take the rest that you need, I am seeing that there's progress that you're making as you move through it. So it does feel like it's a process that you're going through. And I'm just going to, let's call in some angels to help and support you with this. So the obvious one that makes a lot of sense to me is Archangel Raphael. He helps and supports us on a physical level, with any healing that we're doing. But Archangel Raphael can also help us to find the healthcare providers and the healthcare workers that we should be working with. He can help them to understand what it is that we need and help to facilitate that for us as well. So we'll call on Archangel Raphael. I'll ask him for help and support. And there is also something that I'm wanting to encourage you to release and let go of. There is something, as soon as we asked for Raphael for help, he showed me that you've got a great big huge weight that it feels like you're carrying, and I'm seeing just like cutting that off. This doesn't feel like this is like a physical manifestation in your body. This feels like this is something, possibly someone that you are hauling around with you, that is exhausting and draining. And it feels like possibly part of the fatigue that you're experiencing is in response to, as kind of a protection against this person, or possibly thing or situation. But it feels like that's needing to be resolved. And as you start working towards that, everything everything opens up. So definitely make sure you call on Archangel Raphael, ask him for help and support, because he brought a huge amount of clarity just in like that boom, couple seconds that he was in, and he can help you with that releasing too. All right, so we're just going to ask, what does Marilyn need to know around the fatigue that she experiences and how to get past it? So this is really interesting. This is Archangel Haniel, and her message is sensitivity. So you are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. And that's really interesting too. So first of all, Archangel Haniel is the angel that we're going to be talking about at the More Than Existing Summit. And she works with women with intuition. She is very strongly connected with the moon, the ebb and the flow of emotions. And so, given that last message that popped in, I'm not surprised that she came up. And it would be really interesting to explore your own sensitivities. So these can come up certainly in foods, but also what I'm leaning towards as well is I wonder if you are empathic and you pick up on other people's stuff. And fatigue is a very common symptom for people who are empathic, because we are constantly receiving messages or feeling other people's feelings, and it can be exhausting. And it's also a way that we protect ourselves as well, when we are receiving too much, is to go into a place of, I just need to rest and to relax. So I would definitely encourage you to explore that as well. If you're able, pop on and join me for the More Than Existing Summit. It is on Sunday, January the 9th. And I do have more information pinned in the post at the top on both Facebook and YouTube. But Marilyn, it was such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm sending Archangel Raphael and Archangel Haniel your way, asking them to help and support you in releasing what no longer serves you, whatever you're ready to release, in helping with protection if you are taking on other people's energy, so that you're able to clearly identify what is yours and what is not, and ask them for help and support in supporting you becoming healthy and vibrant. Awesome. All right, we've got Robin here. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining me. Robin's wondering how to best guide her daughter in strengthening her relationship skills. Okay, awesome. That is a wonderful question. So first of all, I don't know how old your daughter is, but she's coming through as being young. So she feels to me like she's quite young, but I don't think that she's actually as young as she's coming through as, because I'm kind of getting her at a couple of different ages. So I'm seeing something, a young girl who feels like she's about 2-3 years old. And then I'm popping in kind of that 6, 7, 8 time frame. And then I'm popping in kind of preteen into early teen. So those are kind of the age ranges that I have coming up. What that says to me is that there is likely something that started for her when she was quite young, around 2-3 years old, that she's needing some help in working through and working with. So as her mom, you may be able to go back and say, oh yeah, there were, crazy things that were happening for her when she was 2 or 3 years old. And it feels like that's going to give you a bit of insight into how you're able to help to support her. As I said, the age ranges that I was really getting, 2-3 was coming up really strongly. And then 6-8, but closer to 8. And then I had 9 popping up, and then kind of 12-13. So again, I don't know exactly how old your daughter is, but those are coming up as being significant times and ages for her. When I ask about how you can specifically help right now, I'm seeing holding out your hand and reaching out your hand in support. So it feels like there are a lot of cues that she's picking up from you. So kind of taking a look into how you interact and engage in relationships, and the things that you may have modeled for her unintentionally. That's always how these things tend to come up, because it feels like this is where you can help to support her. If she is an older, like in her teens or older, it feels like these are conversations that you're able to have with her, and maybe you can call upon examples or experiences rather that you have had, where you can say, yeah, this is what I did, and I can see how this isn't what I would choose to do now. I think that there's a need to focus, or not to focus on something that is wrong, but more around how you would choose to do it now. Hindsight is always 2020. but it feels like there's opportunity to have conversation with her around that. And I am seeing her being really receptive. But the big thing is, again, I'm seeing you holding your hand out and offering support. And it feels like this is a really big part of what she's needing to move forward. We're going to go again to the big guys. We're going to go to the archangels, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Robin in terms of how to best guide daughter in strengthening her relationship skills. What do we need to know? Oops, we have our jumper. And the card that we have here is the Clairsentience card. This is Archangel Raguel, and this is really interesting because Archangel Raguel does also help us on an emotional level and with relationships. So first of all, know that Archangel Raguel is around you, helping and supporting you with this, and helping and supporting your daughter as well. You can always call on Archangel Raguel and ask him for help and support. One thing that's important to know, I will often talk about different angels. Like in the last reading, we talked about Haniel and Raphael, and now we're talking about Raguel, and we've talked about other ones too. What if you don't remember which angel it is that I've spoken about? That is totally okay. Angels, please help me is all that you need to ask for. And the angel who is with you or who is appropriate to help you will always show up. So Raguel says, notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. This is the Clairsentient card. So Clairsentience is one of the 4 primary ways we receive intuitive messages and information. And sometimes what happens for people is they feel and absorb and experience so much that they kind of shut down, and it can hinder the ability that we have to relate and to connect to other people because we feel things so strongly, like they're so big and significant. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of what your daughter is dealing with as well. So call on Archangel Raguel, ask him for help and support moving forward. Robin, I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your daughter too. All right, let me see. Jen, I know that we've gotten down towards the end of the evening. If you want to ask, let me see. If you want to ask a specific question, I'm not exactly sure in the framework that we have how to. Okay, well let's see. No, we're gonna do this. Okay, what messages are coming through for Jen's daughter? So actually a big part of what I'm seeing is I'm hearing being brave. I'm hearing pulling myself up. Everything is feeling really raw in my heart. I feel like I want to cry. I feel like I want to let go, but I'm also gaining a lot of strength from something or someone that is around me. And so it feels to me like she's got a lot of support that's coming from the other side. I would say that this is deceased loved one as opposed to like a spirit guide, or it doesn't feel like it's an angel, though this person may have been kind of angel-like in some ways in her life. But I'm seeing that there is a huge amount of support that is coming up for her, around her, and through her to help her to put one foot in front of the other and to move on and to move forward. As I said, I feel like I'm grieving almost. It feels like there's a lot that she's working through and she's processing, but I'm feeling the need to put one foot in front of the other. And, the angel that always pops up for me when these types of messages come through is Archangel Ariel, because she helps us and supports us in being courageous and brave and standing our ground, and not allowing others to push us around. And so, not only does Archangel Ariel from that perspective come through, but she's got a lot of support behind her too. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Jen's daughter. What does she need to know? What does she need to know? So the card that we have here is Take Back Your Power. This is Archangel Raziel, and his message is use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings in your life. So this is very much an empowering card, an empowerment card. It's definitely encouragement to pull into her own strength, her own sense of confidence and awareness. This is a really good time to be reviewing with her the things that she has overcome or the things that she has done. the difference that she does make in our world, in our life. And I want to encourage her to focus on the things that bring her joy, that bring her passion, because it feels like this is a big part of how she is moving out and or moving through whatever this feeling is that she is working on right now. Jen, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. So we've got Bobby here. Hi, Bobby. Thanks for joining us. Bobby's asking, what do I need to know about my Color Street business for the new year? Okay, let's take a look and see. So the first thing that I'm getting is clearing off the table. And, in the movies where there's like that really passionate love scene in an office, and they just like sweep everything off of the desk before they hop to it. That's the kind of sweep that I'm seeing, is literally like clearing everything off of your desk. So what I would say is, moving into 2022, it's important to be tying up loose ends so that you have the energy and the resources that you need to be putting into the projects that you're wanting to focus on with your Color Street business. When I ask about how that's happening, I'm seeing some sort of plan or promotion. And I don't know if this is something that is possibly like laid out for you and or given to you, or if this is something that you're working on and creating for yourself. But it feels to me like there are different phases and things that you're going through. So I would say that there's probably some sort of focus on different events that happen throughout the year that you're able to plan on. And I'm seeing you putting a lot of energy into that in the next couple of weeks and or into the beginning of January. I'm seeing a lot of intention that's coming up with this as well. So rather than being in a place or a position where you're kind of taking advantage of opportunities as they come along, I'm seeing you being in a place where you are actively facilitating the appearance of opportunities. And you're doing that through intention. I'm kind of reminded of an exercise that I used to do when I was starting out with my business, and I called it my manifestation bookkeeping. And I do all of my bookkeeping in an Excel spreadsheet because my business is pretty simple and straightforward. And what I would do is I'd create a separate set of books, but they were manifestation books. Don't worry, they didn't go to CRA. And what I would do with my manifestation books is I would put in like not the client specifically, but the readings that I wanted for a specific week or for a specific month. So say, for example, I wanted to do 5 half-hour readings and I wanted to do 10-hour-long readings and whatever. Then I put that into my book as if I had already done it for that particular month. And I followed through with all of the money, the revenue that would have been earned with that. And then any of the expenses that I would accrue with those specific appointments too. And that really helped to focus my energy and put my intention out to the universe around what it was that I wanted to create, what I was opening to creating. And I'm seeing you doing something similar in manifestation. So for example, if your business structure is one that focuses on like parties, say for example, where you connect with many people and you have orders coming through, then I'm seeing you doing a manifestation book around, how many parties you want to have in a week or in a month, or how many hostess specials or hostess gifts you have. So apply it to the structure and to the business that you have. But it feels like that's a big part of what you are focusing on moving into 2022. And with all of these things, I am seeing that there is a lot of growth that's happening, because it feels like it's something that you are very actively creating. And I'm seeing that there is significant growth. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Bobby around her business for 2022. Ooh. It's been a while since we've done any business and work questions. I always love looking at business. So the card that we have here is Synchronicity, and this feels really perfect given the messages that we had for you. So your prayers and questions are being answered by synchronistic events. Notice them in order to increase their flow. So when synchronicity comes up, first of all, synchronicity is one of those words that's often thrown around, but people don't always know exactly what it is. So synchronicity is when there is something that happens outside of you that you don't have any control over, but speaks to something that you are working on, that you've been thinking about, or it just speaks to you in a really meaningful way. So, for example, maybe you're driving down the highway and you're thinking about a loved one who has crossed over, and then you turn on the radio and the song that pops on is a song that you associate with that person. You had nothing to do with the fact that the radio station or wherever that song was coming from, that song was going to be playing, but you were already thinking about that person. That energy was there, and that was universe's way of confirming for you, yep, they're thinking about you too, or they're with you too, or that's their way of getting through and letting you know that I am here, I am with you. So in that way, it was an event that speaks to you that you had absolutely no control over, but that is significant and meaningful. And so that's what synchronicity is. And what this card says is that things are becoming very synchronistic with the work and the business that you're doing. And the things that we talked about are all things that can help to support that happening. So it's something that you are actively creating, and then you allow those experiences to happen and you just follow them. Bobby, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and positive manifestation your way. Awesome. And we have one more question here. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining me this evening. It's always a pleasure connecting with you. Catherine says, love your space. Thank you. I'm really loving my little area here too. Let me see. Merry Christmas. Sending you a huge hug. Thanks for the Christmas cards and the promos. Oh, awesome. I'm so looking forward to that. And I see Catherine didn't have a specific question. So Catherine, it's always a pleasure connecting with you, and I hope to connect with you soon again. All right, we've got Ange here. Hi, Ange. Thanks for joining me. Ange just saying, I just wanted to see if things are going to turn around for me relationship-wise. Oh, no. And she's saying, obviously, the person that she was with wasn't into things. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that. Let's take a look and see what we have coming up for relationship. And part of what I'm seeing is putting things on pause. So when I ask about relationship moving forward, there's a sense that there are other things that you're focusing on, and you are intentionally putting things on pause for a little while. And when I ask what a little while is, we're definitely seeing through the holiday season, through Christmas, we're moving through January, but as we start to move into February, it feels like things are starting to open up a little bit, but not a huge amount. So what I would say is certainly for the next 5-6 weeks, don't be putting a huge amount of energy into relationship or partner or meeting somebody or finding somebody. So if you were considering doing online dating, don't. Right now, I mean, obviously you have your choice, but it feels like it's going to be counterproductive to where your energy is right now. And I'm seeing you creating a little bit of a vacuum that is helping to invite in relationship and partner. I do have somebody who's popping in as we move into the spring of 2022. So as I said, February feels like things are starting to open up. I would say, into March, that's opening up too. It feels like there's probably somebody that you're connecting with, but it doesn't feel like it's long-term. And then as we start to move into May, that's where I'm seeing things feel like they really are opening up. And the other thing that I'm hearing is trust is going to be a theme that you are either working on during this kind of pause time, or that there are going to be opportunities where you are able to explore the boundaries that you may have created around trust. So I don't know if you were here earlier when I think we were talking to Ashley and boundaries came up. But a lot of the messages that came up for her around boundaries feel like they are really supportive for you where you are as well. So there's definitely a bit of a push or a challenge around boundaries that you have right now. And trust is definitely feeling like a big part of it. As you start to kind of push against those, things feel like they start to open up again. We're going to go to the messages from your angels, and we're just going to ask, the Archangel Oracle card deck. And we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Ange around relationship and things opening up on a romantic level. All right, so the card that we have coming up for you is the Remember Who You Are card. This is Archangel Michael, and his message is, you are a powerful, loving, and creative child of God. You are very loved. So when this card comes up, I always see, particularly when it comes up around like romance and relationship, is remembering the value that you have as a person. And so having just gone through an ending, it's definitely important to make sure that you're taking time to build yourself up again. Though all that said, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of buildup that's needing to happen, because it feels like you've been pretty proactive in that for quite a while. So this feels like it's almost more of a brush off. I'm going to focus on me, the things that are important, and then there's an opening that starts to happen as we move into February. You can definitely call on Archangel Michael and ask him for help and support. He helps us with our life path. And, sometimes we don't think about life paths so much as in relation to romance and relationship, but that is definitely a part of our life path, and life purpose is to have partnership, to have relationship, and to have companionship in our lives. And that's true whether we're men or women, because a lot of focus definitely happens for women, but it's true for men too. So call on Archangel Michael and ask him to help and support you with relationship and partnership from a life path perspective. And it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, so we've come to the end of our show. Oops, darn it all. Just a second. I had everything open on my phone to do this draw, and it looks like my phone closed. So hold on. Here we go. Okay, so I am on the I'm just going to make sure that all comments are selected instead of most relevant. So we have, I'm here on the comment page, and I'm just going to go through and we're going to start. This is the top of the post, and we're just going to go right here. So this person that we have, so Jen Meredith, I am just going to tag you, and we've got your number 1. So you guys can all see the comment that I'm selecting. All right, and we've got 3. So what I'm doing right now is I'm picking for the video reading. Again, the video readings are very similar to the ones that we've just done. The biggest differences are, 1, they're completely private, so nobody else sees the reading but you and anybody else you choose to share with. And they're more in depth. They tend to be about 10 to 15 minutes in length. And so, yes, that's what they are. You'll send me a question, and I will send you the message. So the next card that we have here is for, Gwen Mellowin. And so you are number 2. I'll just post that. And we've got one more. Where are we going? We're going right here. And we have Anne-Marie is our 3rd person. You're number 3. So those are the people who are receiving the first of the 3 Name That Show prizes. So just a quick reminder how it's working. We need a new name for our formerly Tune In and Tune Up Thursday show that is now on Tuesdays that doesn't have a name. If you have ideas that you would like to submit, please pop over to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Heavenly Messenger. And there is a post. It has a big sign. It says Name That Show. And you can put your comments in there. It's a pretty easy post to find because I think there are about 60 comments sitting there already. And that's where you can submit the name that you have for the show as the suggestion. I would encourage you, now that I'm looking at how I'm doing this giveaway part, if you have more than one idea, put in more than one comment. Don't put 3 or 4 in a single comment, because it does increase your chances when it comes to choosing the draws that we're doing. And I'll make sure to do a draw next week as well. So these draws are for people who are commenting, they're engaging, and I so appreciate the help and support that you're giving me. I believe it's December the 24th was the day that we used as the cutoff. So that's not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. And I will whittle it down to 3 names. And then I'm going to ask for your help again in choosing the name for the show. There will be prizes for the people who help to choose and decide. There are going to be prizes for the 3 people whose names we put forward. And then there's definitely going to be a prize for the person that we choose as well. So please pop over with your ideas. I have been loving and appreciating everything that everybody has put out so far. I am so incredibly grateful that you have joined me not only this evening, that you are helping and supporting with the name on the Facebook page. And, I'm just so grateful that you guys are here in general. So thank you for being you, for taking time out of your day to connect with me, to connect in this group. It is always a pleasure and a gift for me. So yes, we will see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for this show, which is a lot easier than the name that we have at the moment. If you've been thinking you'd like a reading for yourself in the month of December, I have great news because they're currently 20% off if you use the link. It is again all over my Facebook page. It's also at the top of the comments of this video. It's bookingwithaerin.com/gratitude.html. All of the readings there are discounted. The 20% off is already there. And if you would like to purchase a gift certificate, those are also available in the month of December at 20% off at the same page. I do still have a couple of appointments left for December. I've opened up a couple of slots towards the end of the month. So if you'd like a New Year reading, now is a great time to book in. Thank you again for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com, and all appointments can be booked at bookingwithaerin.com. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye.